Hey guys, so let's talk about Monday Night Raw. This is the followed edition from Survivor Series, which we just saw on Monday, or which we just saw Sunday, rather. So we're going to start out the show in the back. They start the show out with the whole story of this missing egg. For those that missed Survivor Series, Vince brought this golden egg that apparently was given to him by The Rock. Supposed to be worth $100 million. Why he brought it to this big event, I don't know, but that's beside the point. At any rate, throughout the show Sunday night, the egg went missing. So that's where we start out the show. Vince wants an update. He's talking to Sonya and Adam Pearce. Have they heard anything? Did they do the interviews? Did they learn anything from any of the superstars? Turns out, no. They've got no information, no leads. So he decides to up the ante. Whoever gives any information as to who might have taken this egg, they will give them championship opportunity for the WWE title. Now, this information has to lead to the person being brought in. Okay? So that's going to come into play throughout the night. So then we switch to just outside of gorilla position. There's Randy Orton and Kevin Patrick, who's looking to do an interview with Matt Riddle, who's supposed to have a match against Dolph Ziggler. He's not there. And Randy's like, I've been looking for him. This isn't like him. And then Riddle walks up. So I don't know that it was necessarily a haircut, as more of just the way he had it up. He usually has it down, and he had it kind of in like a half ponytail, like not fully pulled through. He had it. I feel like it kind of gave off a Dolph Ziggler vibe. But he also had a fake mustache. He had other semblances of trying to look like Randy Orton. It was kind of weird, and Randy didn't seem to like it very much. And here's the haircut part, because I don't know, I haven't necessarily seen him with his hair up as much. So, but he had like sides shaved, kind of. So I don't know if that's new for him, as something that's always been there. So that was kind of interesting, seeing this kind of new look for Matt Riddle. So he actually had them play Orton's music for him down to the ramp. And the look on Randy's face was just like, I'm gonna follow him, but I like these two as a tag team. They're amusing. They're funny. I don't know. They're who they are. They bring something different to the tag division. So then, Riddle ends up winning with an RKO, which does earn some respect from Randy. So Robert Roode rushes in after the match as Ziggler's teammate. And then Randy holds him so that he can hit him with a Broderick. So that was kind of fun. I thought it turned out pretty good. I thought it was a decent match. It still doesn't completely tell us where Roode and Ziggler stand. With the issues that Roode and Ziggler have had with Omos and AJ, I don't really know. But we don't have to know right now. That's fine. They're in this title hunt, so to speak, and that's okay. It then takes us backstage where they're tearing up the locker room. They're looking for this egg because if they can find this egg, they can get a title match. That's pretty big for them, right? Well, through the mix of this, R-Truth thinks he found the egg. He's so excited. What he found was a football. Sorry, Truth, they're not the same color. Football is brown. The egg was gold. You were right there when Vince showed everybody the egg. That's okay. I still love Truth. He still always makes me smile. Then he tries to go into the women's locker room and check. Oh, that didn't go over very well. So then we have Becky Lynch coming out to the ring. She goes on about her victory over Charlotte, and essentially that there isn't any woman that can take that title off of her. And I wondered at first if they weren't going to try to paint her more of a babyface light. No, that simply was not going to happen. She then started going on to the fans about how they all want to root for Liv. She's the underdog, and they always want to root for the underdog and hope they win, but not every underdog has their day. And she then said, y'all are going to be disappointed when Liv doesn't win. Because she's not taking this title from me. No one is. Eventually, we would hear more from Liv and Becky later in the night, but that promo was good. She has gotten very good on the mic with her promos, and I don't know if Liv's quite there yet. She's very close, and I'm still intrigued with this Liv getting the opportunity, but I think she'll be okay. So then we have Bianca Belair coming out. First, they did a video package of her being the sole survivor for the Raw Women's 5-on-5 team. She is going up against Tamina, and of course Natalya is there at ringside. She would, similar to, I believe it was just last week that she beat Tamina with KOD, which is good for Bianca. It really is. And I don't think Tamina necessarily needs the wins at this point. Granted, Tamina has been a women's tag champion, and that's all at this point. But I don't know that she expects to necessarily reach that top to actual women's champion. So this isn't the worst thing in the world. What I like about this is that it gives us something else in the women's division. You have the title picture, but you need more stories than just that. You need other feuds, other things happening inside the women's division besides just the title. There are too many women that if that's all you're really showing on TV is just the two, maybe three women involved in the title picture, you're missing a lot of women. So I like that they're building this up, and I like that when Natalya and Tamina went to leave, Doudrop came out and hit Bianca in the back. And then she essentially hit her a couple of times and then left with Natalya and Tamina. It works for me. And it gives these four women something to do. It gives them TV time. And so that's good. Yeah. Okay. We then switch to a portion of the show that we're going to take some time with, okay? So Seth came out. First, they did similar to Bianca. They did the video package because he was the sole survivor for the Raw men's team. He went over what happened with the other teammates, Kevin Owens leaving, and how the other ones were eliminated. Bobby Lashley being counted out and such. He got down to Finn last, saying that he just didn't measure up. And so Finn was who he was going to be having his match against. Well, before he could actually get in the ring, Rollins had moved out of the ring and started attacking him. This match never started. Okay, they had a scuffle. They brawled a little bit. At the end of it, Rollins would hit a couple of curb stomps with Finn. Now he's not moving in the ring, and I don't know that anything serious happened to Finn. Obviously, officials were in there checking on him. The more serious note actually happened when Rollins was heading to the back. It appears as though a fan actually jumped the barricade and started attacking Rollins. This is not okay. And reading even more reports, one showing kind of his reaction afterwards, and they had one that actually showed a shot from the entrance ramp afterwards, and it showed Becky checking on him. This I don't believe was planned. And as fans, we need to remember that these are people. They are playing a character at the end of the day. And it is perfectly okay for us to be on the other side of that barricade and boo them and maybe even jeer them and shout things at them. It is not okay to jump that barricade and put your hands on them. That is essentially putting your hands on another person and assaulting another person, which inevitably is what this person is going to be charged with. And WWE released a statement that they will be charged to the fullest extent, as they should. They have to do this to protect their superstars. You can't do that. And I know that some people got upset because security wasn't there right away. And here's the thing. A lot of people like to say that they see security all over the place and whatnot, and they are there. Okay, but I haven't actually been, having actually been to a show and actually sat in that front row, not along the walkway, but on one of the sides, those people sitting on the sides and on this side and on the ramps can actually go up to the barricades. They're allowed to do this. And so there isn't a security person right there between them and that barricade. Okay? What that means is that the security people are more in those walkways. So there might have been a security person if there was like a walkway here between the two groups, maybe on that entrance ramp, maybe one of them could have gotten there in time. I don't know for sure if there is, though. But that's where those security people are going to be. They're not going to be in the middle of those rows. I did have an instance where I was at a show. I was in the back in the front row, and I was on one of the sides. So we could not go up to the barricades, but there was an entrance to the right of me, and someone did try to run down that entrance and hop over the barricade. There was security there. Now, they're in a chair, okay, because that camera's panning, and they don't want that camera to pick up those security people sitting there. They need to be there for everyone's safety, but they don't want that on camera. So they are sitting in a chair out of sight of the cameras. So at that point, with those people, with that person, they were able to easily get that person before they could actually get over the barricade and get to the ring. In this instance, this person was next to the barricade. There is not a security person right there. And I know that others have given him some grief for what he said afterwards. And here's my take on that. It's a scary situation. You're hoping that someone can get there soon enough to help you. And I know that others have also expressed feelings about why he didn't try to stop the person himself. Here's the thing. This is another person too. And Seth understands that this is another person, and he can't just attack this person. Yes, they attacked him. And he does, to some extent, have the right to protect himself. And he did. But he doesn't have the right to necessarily, how's the best way to put this? Not necessarily, knock them out, but, you can only go so far in protecting yourself, if that makes sense. Mainly because there is someone that is supposed to be doing that job of security. And the officials did get there pretty quickly to get the person off of him. So he understood that he didn't necessarily have to. So that's my take on that. It's a scary situation, and one that they should not have to deal with, but they do, because there are fans that unfortunately have lost that thread between the fact that this is a person playing a character, and even when they're not in the ring, not in an arena, they still have people that will come up to them that will try to hit them and try to do these things, and it's not fair. It's not right. And we as fans need to do better in recognizing that if you want to rib them a little bit, that's fine. That same night, I gave Sammy some grief as he was walking around and making comments. But I wouldn't even consider jumping over a barricade and actually physically attacking them. I understand that this is a person. But anyway, we'll move on from that. The person is in custody, and that's the important part. We then go backstage, and a bunch of the superstars are, of course, looking for the eggs some more. That's gonna kind of be a theme. However, Sammy is in Vince's office and wanted to check and see if that title opportunity was still being offered, because He's pretty sure he knows who stole the egg. He's 95% sure. Vince is like, do you know or do you not? Like, bring the person in. So Sammy leaves and he goes to find the person to check on something. Then we have the Street Profits and AJ Styles and Omos coming to the ring. We see that he has a fire extinguisher in this bag. Now, first I'm trying to figure out, it was a black bag. And you never really know for sure whether a bag is heavy or not when they're bringing something out with them. At the end of the day, the match was okay. It didn't last long. More of it was dealing with the fact that Dawkins was spraying Omos and AJ with a fire extinguisher, causing a disqualification, of course. It was kind of a fun moment, though. It gave them something different to do. It brings in a different element to this feud, and I wonder if it isn't going to go into some kind of no DQ match between the two of them. And again, same with that match for Natalya and Tamina and Bianca. This is giving the tag division something different to do. You have on Raw, you have the United States Championship picture, you have the main event picture. But other than that, you don't necessarily have anything else. I mean, they could be in the tag title picture, but right now the story there seems to be Ziggler and Rude, and that's okay. But you need something for some of the other tag teams to do. So this is nice. It takes time in your show, and it tells more of a story. So then we have Carmella and Queen Zelina. They both seem to be of the thought that the only one they really need to worry about is Rhea Ripley, because they don't really think Nikki ASH can do anything. Now this match is going to be for the Women's Tag Championship. So the match itself was a decent match. It wasn't necessarily super long, and that's okay. Nikki would end up being double teamed by Carmella and Zelina. And Zelina would end up hitting the code red for the pin. And we have new tag champions. I'm okay with this, honestly. I liked Rhea Ripley and Nikki as champions, but it was time for a little bit of a change. And I think this is going to work okay. I don't think this necessarily ends this feud. I think there will probably be a rematch, but then I think they will move on, and maybe there will be another team of baby faces that Carmella and Zelina can go up against. So I'm okay with this. I really am. Alright, then we go to Vince McMahon's office. Sonia's in there. She's very excited. Adam is on his way. They figured out what happened with the egg. Adam's bringing the person in. We then went to break. When we came back, Sami Zayn is in Vince's office with Adam Pearce and Sonia now. So Sammy is sitting there bragging about how he got this done. This was because of information he provided. He wants Vince to know this. So then Sonya and Adam Pearce are told to leave. And in walks Austin Theory. Austin Theory? This actually makes sense. Okay, so Vince asked him why he did it. Well, for anyone that's been paying attention to Theory's stories, he just wanted to take a selfie with the egg. And then he got scared. I like it. It makes sense. It ties in the whole him taking selfies with superstars and all of this. And it makes sense that he would want to take a selfie with this expensive egg. And I don't believe he planned to not return the egg. What eventually ends up happening is Vince says he's going to drop the charges. He says, "There, you remind me a lot of myself." And he gives him the title match. This, of course, does not sit well with Sammy. He's like, "But I gave this information. You said whoever provided this information and brought the person in would get this title match." Vince told him to shut up, and nobody likes a snitch. Oh, it was kind of a little fun segment. And that closes the whole story of the missing golden egg. Side note, in that though, before he let Theory leave, he let Austin take a selfie with Vince holding the egg. We then move back to the ring. We have Cedric Alexander taking on the 24/7 champion Reggie. I have liked Reggie as the 24/7 champion, but this was a fun segment that saw Cedric Alexander actually win the 24/7 championship. Yes. So he celebrates until everyone else is running out. And as he's trying to get out of the ring the other way, off of the top rope comes Dana Brooke. 1, 2, 3. We have a new 24/7 champion, Dana Brooke. All the other wrestlers are in the ring, but they don't know what to do. This is a woman. They don't feel comfortable pinning this woman. So she just casually leaves the ring. Then we end up cutting back to Bobby Lashley and the Mysterios. This is supposed to be a 2-on-1 match. I don't know how much of a 2-on-1 it was because MVP didn't necessarily really get involved. It gives these three people something to do. Excuse me. And it does help build Bobby Lashley up. He did end up putting Dominic in the Hurt Lock to end the match. It gives them something to do, and it moves the storyline along, I guess, for them. It was okay. I'm not entirely certain where it's going yet, but I think it will be okay.